first rain, so soft, falling all around, and here we are, yeah. Your smile, my eyes, it's a free exchange. Your kiss, my laugh, a free exchange. Your glance and my soul, it's a free exchange. As we step by step, a free exchange.
Good afternoon. You were listening to the sounds of Liz Gray. She's a Minneapolis musician who's now currently residing in Omaha, Nebraska. The song is called Free Exchange. This is the Front Room Sessions. I am your host for today, Harry Colbert Jr., managing editor of Insight News, and we're coming to you live from the Marcus Garvey House in North Minneapolis. And my guest with me today is Kristel Porter. She's the executive director of the Cleveland Neighborhood Association and also executive director of Minnesota Renewable Now. So we're going to be talking about both of those things. So thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored.
Well, what's going on in Cleveland? And for those who don't know, can we get a geographic kind of description of the Cleveland Neighborhood Association?
So Cleveland neighborhood is a north side neighborhood, North Minneapolis, and we are located between Penn Avenue and the Parkway, and Lowry and Dowling. So if you can just imagine that little square or rectangle, we have a very dynamic neighborhood. We're right on the corner where we get a lot of action and activity on Lowry and Penn. It's also home of Lucy Crapolini School, which has been gaining a lot of recognition in media, and they actually have a movie out. But we also have another part of Cleveland that is, changing every day. Homes being sold like crazy. It's being gentrified. So it's a very interesting neighborhood.
Yeah, and I can attest to that as I am a year and a half resident of the Cleveland neighborhood.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I've been partaking of the the movies and the concerts on the Parkway.
Yes.
And
Live on the Drive.
yes,
12
yes.
years now. It's become a North Side tradition, actually, and it's been a wonderful space to highlight artists in Minnesota that often get overlooked, but are also up and coming and fabulous. I haven't been disappointed yet by the acts that we've had at Live in the Drive, and it's really kind of cool because I'm a part of something is not just highlighting these folks that are very talented in the art that they are doing, but they also become that artist of the year. It's because we partner with the park board, and the park board has the showmobile, and they do the movies and the music in the park. It's really cool because they are like, oh, who is, okay, you're having Black Madonna, okay, well, we're gonna pitch them at all the other events. So then Black Madonna is the band of the year, you know, and they get to perform at Juneteenth and all these other places. So it's really cool to have that, the ability to be able to bless folks in that way.
Yeah, I got to see Pavel, Nikki Jones, a few other artists. They were formerly Zulu. Astro Black. Yeah.
And Ashley DeBose, hashtag MPLS. I mean, so many, Chastity Brown performed there, Toki Wright. Just so many artists have performed at Live in the Drive who are now well-known musicians. And it's, I'm not saying that Live in the Drive, did that for them, but when you are able to perform in front of 2,000 people in your own hometown, it does something, and you gain recognition for the amazing work that you do.
And a lot of the audience is it's a very diverse audience in terms of age, ethnicity, and things of that nature. But to be able to have artists who traditionally may not have access to that audience, because you have a lot of soul, hip hop, quote unquote neo soul artists who perform, and I'm sure that's not by accident.
No. So I always say, I'm just the staff. The board are the ones that make the decision. But I definitely do have some influence. And I used to be in the music scene. I used to be in a band, at several bands. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I'm actually a singer. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I used to be a professional dancer as well. And I just knowing what it's like to have to work in that space and not get, you can't live off of that. I remember going to practice and getting ready and then being on stage for like 8 hours and walking out the door with $40 in my pocket. It was like, I can't do this. I'm a single mom. This isn't gonna work. So, I don't do it anymore, but I love to be in a space where I can actually, compensate these hardworking musicians for the work that they do, because a lot of work goes into it, and not just the musicians. I'm very intentional about making sure that the food trucks, we usually have about 8 food trucks, are from the community, and usually Black owned as much as possible. We still will have our same Nona Rosas. It's an amazing Italian family that is like just awesome, and they are there, and they're grandfathered in, but they're very local. They're here, and they provide a lot of jobs in the community as well. So, and then as far as the graphic designer that designs the flyers and to the T-shirts, that that is a young Black artist that came up through Juxtaposition Arts. It's just cool to be able to provide that recognition, bringing them up on stage and saying, hey, this is the graphic designer that designed, the T-shirt this year, or whatever. Support them. This is their name, and just being able to take advantage of a crowd that large and be able to showcase these amazing talents is just a blessing. I'm honored to be in that space.
So you had mentioned Lucy Laney, and that's where Cleveland meets, and when are the meetings?
So we have our office space that we actually, it's kind of cool because the NRP, we were able to move, and this was before I came into the picture, but the board was able to move NRP funds to build that space on the side of the school. So it's been a really great relationship, because I serve on the site council of Lucy Craft Laney And then also the park is right connected to it. And anyone who lives in North Minneapolis will know Cleveland Park is not a desirable park to hang out in. It has a lot of issues, around substance abuse. And it's right next to a liquor store that's connected to a school. So it's got all these crazy dynamics, but being able to have those relationships. The school, we host some of the spaces, or some of our meetings there. The most attended meeting we always have to have in the school, and it is the Crime and Safety Committee meeting, because there's a lot of things that are going on 35th and Penn especially, which is now cleaning up. There's a wonderful man by the name of Michael Jones who is opening up a clothing store and music space there, and he's been really cleaning it up. We offer commercial loans to folks who are planning on opening up a business in Cleveland, up to $10,000. If you are interested in opening up a business in Cleveland, we have that available, and he is taking advantage of that. And he reached out to us, and now it's just a beautiful space. It's a lot of the crime has cut in half because of his just having his presence there. He hasn't even opened
The
yet.
traffic and the.
He hasn't even opened yet, but because of his positive energy and the work that he's putting in the building, people are going, what's going on here? And it's causing people to move around, and so I'm a huge, firm believer in investing and supporting in the businesses that are in North Minneapolis, because it's always a struggle. We always struggle to keep businesses thriving in our community, and a lot of it has to do with lack of investing in them, going into the space, walking through the threshold and spending some money there. But not just that, but also changing our routine. We're so used to not having anything over north. We're just used to it. It's just like, okay, well, whenever I go shopping or whenever I get paid on Friday, I'm just going to grab my paycheck and go out of the community and get all of my stuff done out there without even taking the time to go, let me see if there is anything here first that I can spend my money at first.
Yeah. Well, with the past election in November, one of the things that changed were the rules, and regarding where people could set up shop in terms of certain commercial entities. And I know one of the businesses in Cleveland is taking advantage of that and New Rules. And you talked about them a little bit earlier.
Yeah, New Rules. New Rules is an amazing space. They're actually like literally 2 steps out of Cleveland, but I'd still like to honor them as a Cleveland business. I actually just put them in our newsletter, which goes out to about 2,000 people. And so people can see, hey, it's a cafe now too. It's not just an event workspace, but they are serving food. You can go in and order an avocado toast and sit down and be around all this beautiful art and positive energy. They also have a liquor license, so if you want to get a drink, they have a comedy show on Saturday nights, and just like any new business, they're struggling to get people to come in the door. They could be like 2 blocks away, but because their regular routine is to head west or head east, they don't pass that store, and they have no idea they're even there, even though they might be 2 blocks away in the same neighborhood. So it's just getting people to see that they're there and to come in and spend a little bit of money and support them, because they're doing good work and they deserve to be supported. And if we don't, they're going to go away, and then we're going to keep complaining about how there's nothing in North Minneapolis. So yeah.
Yeah. So when I was talking about the new changes, one of the things that they and many other businesses wouldn't have had the opportunity to have a liquor license had the law not just been changed.
Yeah.
So it's opening up more opportunities for different entities. Now, again, the days.
The days, sorry. So we have our regular board meeting the 4th Wednesday of the month. It's always the 4th Wednesday of the month. It's at 6:30 p.m. So if you ever want to come in and listen to how we do things, it's very casual. I think my energy has kind of rubbed off on the rest of the board and the people that were drawn to the space, but we're kind of, it's what it's supposed to be. A neighborhood is ran by neighbors, we get so caught up in like the term board, and committees and Robert's Rules of Order, but the reality is we're just neighbors sitting around a table deciding what is best for the community based on what we hear from our own neighbors. And so we meet every month and we talk about, you know, what needs to be done, and then if, you know, a vote needs to happen or funds need to be moved or things that need to be supported, you know, it happens in that space and anybody can come. It's open to the public. So, and then we also have, you know, other committees as well, like Live on the Drive committee. That is the second Thursday of the month. You can come in and see what that's like, to just kind of like, you know, just see what the process what we go through to like make Live on the Drive happen is pretty insane. We actually start in October and then it to be ready by June of next year, so it's pretty crazy. And then we have a green committee, which you know, they focus on environmental stuff and yeah, so we've
So speaking of the Green Committee, I'm going to segue because you're also the executive director of Minnesota Renewable Now, and tell us a little bit about Minnesota Renewable Now, and then you're also working with a new wind initiative.
Yes, so that's my baby. Minnesota Renewable Now is something that I have been wanting to do for many, many, many years, but because of insecurities or the unknown, just worried about, you know, just getting it going. And one day, I think it was January 1st of this year, I sat at my uncle's kitchen table and I was like, we're gonna do this. So I put the website together, I registered us as a nonprofit, and I hit the ground running. We got our first grant through the Minneapolis Foundation, and Center for Energy and Environment partnered with us. And we started a program called Power North, and we are focused on the North Minneapolis Green Zone, and we are door knocking and getting people to turn their energy bill into a clean energy bill. And what that entails is we all, and pretty much anybody listening to this, you, we all have an Xcel energy bill. All of us do. We all pay our electric bill every month. But we don't realize that electricity is ran off of coal. We have about 4 or 5 coal plants in Minnesota right now, and if anyone's ever been by a coal plant or driven by a coal plant, the smell that comes off of it, I feel bad for the people that have to live right next to it, but I mean, everybody's gonna get affected by that because we all share the same atmosphere. We're all on the same planet, so the thing about wind source and solar is this is a renewable source, but it's still connected to the grid, just like the coal plants are connected to the grid. Xcel Energy wants to shut all these coal plants down by 2050, and I firmly believe that they can shut them down by 2025, because we need to move that fast, to be honest. So what we're doing is we're getting people to just simply understand that there's another option. I don't care if you rent a studio apartment or have an entire home, single family home, whether you own or rent, you can switch your Xcel Energy bill over to wind. All you have to do is either contact Xcel, go on the website. When I come to your door and knock on your door, you can sign up with me, and all you have to do is just say, I want wind. I want my electricity bill to be ran off of wind power. And it's as easy as that. And the crazy thing about it is it's only 80 cents a block, which is kind of insane because like the average typical single family household never uses over 6 blocks a month. So if you take 80 cents times 6, it's $4.80 a month. And then just to make things clear, your Xcel Energy bill isn't going to be $4.80 a month. It's going to be $4.80 extra. And a lot of people are like, well, why would I do that? You know, it's if it costs more, well, because we're saving the planet together. And it costs a lot of money to build a wind turbine and to build a wind farm. So in order to have that infrastructure be built, we have to raise the demand. You have to increase the demand in order to supply the demand.
So it's basically paying up front for the anticipated health cost of your lungs and
for us to be able to survive on this planet. You know, if we don't change our actions and the way that we produce our energy, because we move fast, we're all addicted to convenience. We're all addicted to speeding things up and making things fast. And we can't slow down because of the way that we are moving and the way that things are set up in society. We have to. So in order to be able to sustain that energy, we have to figure out a way to be able to create that energy in a more sustainable way, without destroying our planet. And right now, we cannot continue to do coal. We cannot continue to do fossil fuels. It's just not. It's not conducive to our future, our children. Anyone who has children or nieces or nephews, or is young and wants to be able to still live life as we know it, we have to start thinking about these issues. It's not all about money. It's, I mean, money isn't going to matter. Social issues aren't going to matter. All of these issues aren't going to matter if we don't have air to breathe, water to drink, land to grow food. None of it's going to matter.
It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, unless they start selling the air.
Right? And this is the way we can actually do it. A lot of us feel powerless, especially if you're a renter. They're like, well, I can't put solar panels on the roof of my apartment building. Well, this is a way that you can say, hey, Xcel Energy, hey, my elected officials, I want renewable energy, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to switch my Xcel Energy bill over to wind. So that increases that demand. Those numbers are going to be seen. And my goal is, if North Minneapolis residents are the highest opt-in rates for renewable energy in 2020, they're going to see that number, and they're going to be like, you know what, North Minneapolis gets it. So let's start investing into North Minneapolis. Let's start building more renewable energy infrastructure. Let's start bringing green jobs and training facilities to North Minneapolis, because they get it, they understand it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my goal.
And then I think last year I don't know if it was last year or 2 years, I can't recall, but they placed solar panels on the roof over at Shiloh, right over here off of Broadway. And so they're running several of the neighboring homes and businesses are running off of that solar energy right now. So as you said earlier, things move fast, and so has our time.
Yes.
So with that being said, again, if you can give people contact information for the Cleveland Neighborhood Association and Minnesota Renewable Energy Now,
Yeah, so if you want to find out more information about Cleveland Neighborhood, you can go to clevelandneighborhood.org. And then Minnesota Renewable Now is minnesotarenewablenow.org. So either one, if you want to get some more information. We also have Facebook, Instagram, all of that. So tap in, plug in. Thank you for having me.
and we also have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so please tap in and plug into that. It is Insight News. Once again, this has been the Front Room Sessions. I've been your host, Harry Colbert Jr., Managing Editor here at Insight News. And stay tuned, because after this program, Al McFarlane is going to be up with another program with some other wonderful guests. Thank you for tuning in.